somebody runs their mouth, shut up. That's like running your mouth around cops. You know there's something fucked up's gonna happen. Keep your mouth shut.
I do.
Do they deserve that? Probably not. Do I think that there may have been some exchange before? Yeah, I do, and I think that it was a very unwise decision to do that, especially consider their surroundings and their circumstances.
Yeah.
What else is going to come out of that but an ass whooping?
Yeah. I do agree with the importance of reading the room. I get criticized a lot from my liberal side, certainly when I'm talking about doing it with police, but I went to 2 events recently where, I don't know, I think people like me were outnumbered probably 500 to 1 or more. I went to a Matt, what was the guy's name? He's a comedian, I cannot think of his name now. Not Matt Friend. He's a white guy. He's all over Facebook and things like that. A young guy in his late 20s, and he's very funny. I cannot think of his. Yeah, Matt Rife. Yeah, Matt Rife. I went to a comedy show with Matt Rife over in Omaha, Nebraska.
Oh yeah, he's good.
And he very funny guy, but the audience was it was a full stadium. You're talking, I don't know, maybe 30,000 people. It was definitely well over 500 to 1. In terms of black versus white. Very, very few black people there. And then I went to see Nelly not long ago, out in the middle of Iowa. I went to see Nelly not long ago. Once again, big audience, probably 500 to 1 as well. Nelly attracts a lot of white people. So I understand the point of reading the room, because I'm thinking the same shit. If something kicks off here, there's nothing you can do. If for some reason you say something and somebody got beef with you or something like that, you ain't talking your way out of this. I mean, it's like you're overwhelmingly outnumbered. In this current environment, it don't take a lot to spark people. So I am a big advocate of trying to de-escalate situations as much as possible, because shit can get out of hand. Now, in this case of Cincinnati, I don't know what happened, but I tend to agree with you. It probably was some words exchanged, and this guy didn't read the room and realize.
I said it was a drug deal gone bad.
Oh, really?
Well, that's what someone said. I read that somewhere. I don't know. I didn't read that myself in the news. Someone had mentioned it in one of the chats. And I was like, oh, well, that's even putting yourself more in a fucked up position. Yeah. If it was, in fact, a drug deal. You know, I learned my lesson back in the 80s when I was a young buck, okay? Me and about 20 friends went to an Eric B. and Rakim concert. Remember Eric B. and Rakim?
Of course.
And we went downtown Manhattan. And we were outnumbered, probably fucking 400 to 1. And a couple of my buddies thought it'd be a good idea to get into a fucking argument with a couple of black dudes. And I'm thinking, yeah, this is going to go over real bad. Man, we got our asses stomped. In hindsight, if I could go back and do it again, I'd have ran and fuck what they said about it. Because I knew that was going to a place that wasn't going to end.
Yeah, when you got that much disparity in terms of races, chances are the person you're arguing with is not going to be the only person that kicked your ass. I mean, it's just simple as that. If you're outnumbered that badly, there's probably a lot of spectators that's going to throw in a free lick or something like that. So, yeah, you got to read the room. You got to read the room. And, I mean, like I said, when I was at that event, I'm thinking, like, if something kicks off, it's other people that are standing around that would probably gladly try to sneak in a free punch or a kick or something, because, hey, ain't nobody going to say shit. I mean, you fuck around and end up dead doing some shit like that. So I do believe in de-escalating when you can.
Let me say this. That's not a black thing. That's not a white thing. That's a fucked up human thing, man. That's just what we fucking do.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. It's fucked up. But, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, but in this country, you guys have a history of doing it a whole lot more than we do. So, I mean, but you're right. It happens from both sides. If the country was mostly black, you'd have a lot more blacks doing it. But the country is mostly white. So the history of this country features mostly whites doing shit like that.
Big Wheel in your comments asked me, Gen X, why don't you like black people? Brother, I don't dislike anybody. Here's what I dislike: ignorance. All right? If you act ignorant by yourself or in a group, I tend to dislike you. And I'm going to be very cliche right now. I've got black friends.
Oh my God.
I've got my own black friends.
And I'm going to tell you right off the bat, that don't say shit, because you got slave owners that had black friends.
One of them. If Tim was in Montana and called me up and said, hey, brother, I'm on I-90, I'm broke down in Missoula, can you give a brother a hand? I would be there in a heartbeat to help this man out.
Do you have a lot of? I mean, there's no diversity in your area, is it?
Very little. There's not a lot of black folks. There's quite a few Mexicans, but man, they're getting shipped out left and right. My buddy's whole work crew got fucking deported.
God. So you got ICE up there in Montana fucking with them.
Oh yeah. Especially up near Flathead Lake in Kalispell. They're going through a whole fucking, a whole big thing up there about that shit. The cartels are up there on the Indian reservations. It's pretty wild. But ICE can't go on the Indian reservations, so they got to wait for them to go into town to grab them.
So does the natives have their back? Are the natives holding them down?
I think the natives that are into dirt, of course, but the law-abiding, upstanding natives, absolutely not. They don't want the drugs in their community. That fentanyl's killed a lot of people out here.
So what are you saying, that most of the Hispanics in your community is involved in crime?
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we have a lot of Hispanics out here, and we do have deportations up here, and we do have roundups. Not near the big cities, but most of the Hispanics that I know, I don't know any personally. All the Hispanics I know are legit. I mean, they've been here for a while, or they're legal, as far as I know anyway. And they're just regular fucking people. I ain't got a problem with them.
Yeah, because I'm going to tell you right off the bat, there's so much fucking money to be made off fentanyl and other drugs. If you get rid of the Hispanics, you're going to have a few white boys in your neighborhood that's going to see that ability to make money. Everybody's capitalist. So if you get rid of Hispanics, you're going to have a bunch of white boys like there's a big market available to us. The customers still exist. So the idea that getting rid of Hispanics is going to reduce drug trade in this country is insane. Everybody wants to make money.
Supply and demand. When I was young and a young idiot at 20 years old, if they took all the Mexicans out and there was no dealers, shit, I'm picking up that coattail and making some bank.
All right, Gen X, I do got to move it on. Huh?
I got one question for you, Tim. I wanted to ask you.
Sure.
I was listening to something you were talking about the other day. And I'm gonna throw a hypothetical at you. Let's say someone steals a car in the year 2000. And you can write this down if you want. Somebody steals a car in the year 2000.
Mm-hmm.
They put it in their garage, and it stays there until 2025.
Right.
Now, in 2025, they decide to take that vehicle, because theirs is broke down or whatever, to the grocery store, and they get pulled over, and the cop identifies it as a stolen vehicle. Should they be prosecuted for that? They're an upstanding citizen, good parent, grandparent, whatever. Should they be prosecuted and held accountable for that stolen vehicle from 25 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll use that another time, but we're gonna.
Well, wait, hold on. I'm not gonna let you fucking get away with that because I know what you're trying to do. Here's the difference. You're saying they stole the car and they kept it in their possession. So when they are actually caught, they're still, for the most part, in the process of committing the crime. They're still doing it today because you're driving around with stolen property. Here's the difference I would take with your scenario. You stole a car in 2000 and you got caught in that car in 2000. Should you still be punished for that in 2025? Because that's the immigrant trap you're talking about. Is that should immigrants get punished?
Not in 2025. If you commit an immigration violation in 2020 and you just happen to get caught in 2025, the same principles exist.
No, and that's where I disagree. That's where I disagree with you. If you committed a crime 25 years ago, and let's say there was a warrant out for you for 25 years, you committed now if you committed a rape or murder like Trump talks about, yeah, then that's different. But if you committed a misdemeanor or something like that 25 years ago, and let's say they had a bench warrant out for you, you were supposed to appear in court and you didn't for the last 25 years. When they catch you, they are going to take in consideration what type of citizen you've been over the last 25 years. It is going to make a big difference as opposed to if they had caught you, if you had came in court the day you were supposed to 25 years ago versus coming in court now where you can say, I'm a married father of two, I work at the library, I've had no criminal history. They're going to take that in consideration. So that's the difference, is that under the Trump administration, they're bringing up old crimes and they're not taking into consideration anything. Did you save some cats? Did you pull somebody out of a burning building? Did you fight on behalf of our country in Afghanistan? None of that matters. That would not apply to anybody else.
Hey, let me address something in your chat. A lot of people are bringing up statute of limitations. Yes, the statute of limitations is true, but that's not how it works. The statute of limitation on a low-level felony is, I think, 5 or 7 years. Now, the statute of limitations begins the moment they find out that you actually committed the crime. If you kept that vehicle for 25 years without them knowing who stole it, why they stole it, and then you get pulled over, the statute of limitations starts the day they figure out that you were the perpetrator of that crime 25 years later.
I don't think the statute of limitations apply in this case, because if you got an immigration violation, they can prove it, they can use it against you. I'm just simply saying, in Trump's case, he's taking this super duper strict approach on it. By the way, you do realize his wife is an immigration violation. She came in the country. She worked before she legally had the right to, and the visa she came in on, she don't qualify for that either. His wife was an immigrant.
Huh? What are you talking about? She's a genius.
She's what?
A genius.
I gotta fucking go. I gotta go. All right, Gen X. Appreciate it.
Hey man, love the shirt.
All right, she must be a genius on that dick. Anyway, tap the screen. Get the lights on up to about 40,000. Hey, what am I looking at here? Maybe it's higher than that already. Thank you guys that are, 40,000. Got to put on my spectacles to see that shit. Tap the screen, get the lights on up. Melania Trump is a genius. Really? He's genius on that dick. RGB, my apology for not responding sooner. He says MAGA are need pleasers. Somebody's saying that MAGA gets on their knees and does things. I don't know what you're saying there. Josh says, does he think the Muslim community had the right? I'd like to know more about that. What are you referring to, Josh? I would like to know more. What you mean? Did the Muslim community have the right to do what? Never laughed so hard in my life, says Leon. Well, we appreciate you being able to get a little bit of humor out of this program. We're asking, why does it appear, maybe I'm getting this one wrong and you guys can help clear this up, but it does appear as if Trump is judging world leaders wrong. We know him going through the whole spat with Zelensky of the Ukraine, suggesting that man didn't have the cards. Everybody saw that argument, saw that debate. But now, and I'm not going to play the Zelensky clip again, but I do want to play the clip of where we're currently at, because at first it was Russia's defending itself, and he was even blaming Zelensky of Ukraine for starting a war. Russia was, concerned that a neighbor was about to join NATO, and Russia was simply defending itself. That's the stance that Trump was taking the moment he became president. Here's the stance of President Trump. I believe this was Trump from today.
I would have said 5 times we would have had a deal. I've spoken to President Putin a lot. And then President Putin goes out and starts launching rockets into some city like Kiev and kills a lot of people in a nursing home or whatever. You have bodies lying all over the street. Disappointed in President Putin. Very disappointed in him. So we're going to have to look, and I'm going to reduce that 50 days that I gave him to a lesser number, because I think I already know the answer what's going to happen. I'm going to make a new deadline of about 10 or 12 days from today. There's no reason in waiting. We just don't see any progress being made.
And that's the point, is that he's went from blaming the Ukrainians for starting a war to now blaming the Russians for not wanting to end the bloodshed, and threatening to impose sanctions on Russia, which Russia did not comply with. So now he's going to move the sanctions up from a 50-day imposition to now 10. And of course, we talked about earlier, Benjamin Netanyahu getting on television and claiming, because there's a whole lot of reports that the Palestinians are being starved to death.
Israel is presented as though we are applying a campaign of starvation in Gaza. What a bold-faced lie. There is no policy of starvation in Gaza, and there is no starvation in Gaza. We enable humanitarian aid throughout the duration of the war to enter Gaza, otherwise there would be no Gazans.
Now let me ask something real quick before we continue on. Now, obviously, I got viewers on my program from both the left and the right. I got plenty of I got probably more liberals right now than MAGA, but I do have plenty of MAGA in addition to liberals. Is there anybody that believe what Netanyahu said, left or right, in the comments, by way of yes or no? You hear Netanyahu suggesting that nobody is starving in Israel. It's not being used as a weapon. Is there anybody that believe what he's saying? Now, see in the comments, First Watch says, I support Israel. You can support Israel, but also support them starving the Palestinians to death. Maybe you think what they did on October 7th was so bad they all need to die of starvation. You can support them while still admitting it. So is there anybody that believes what Netanyahu is saying? My beloved MAGA, anybody believe that at all? Considering how much footage is coming out of that country, he's saying that they're not using starvation for a weapon. And by the way, if that's the case, he should have got ahead of this a lot sooner, because the claims of starvation are, as Mike pointed out earlier in the program, it's about a year old. People have been talking about this starving for quite a while now. But here's President Trump in the last 24 hours responding to what Netanyahu said.
So we're going to set up food centers and where the people can walk in and no boundaries. We're also going to make sure that they don't have barriers stopping people. You've seen the areas where they actually have food and the people are screaming for the food in there. We can save a lot of people. I mean, some of those kids that's real starvation stuff. I see it. And you can't fake that.
CNN's Jeff.
So it's pretty clear that Trump don't believe Netanyahu either. So that's the whole point of the program, is why is Trump taking such an about face on world leaders? His stance on Putin has changed 180 degrees, and now it's going that way with Netanyahu. And it certainly went that way with Zelensky of the Ukraine as well, where he believed he was one thing, now he believes he's another. He believed Putin was one thing, now he believes Putin is another. And now it's starting to happen with Netanyahu as well. How did he judge these world leaders so badly? That's what we're asking. So anyway, looking in the comments, he was just talking. He doesn't care about kids, says Michael. He does. That's why he's going to release the Epstein list. Is that not right? Ukraine gave up its nuclear arms on the condition that Russia wouldn't try to take Ukraine land back. That is true. That did not work out well. The UK and America promised to protect should that have happened, and they didn't follow through with it. Gangsta Grandma. I've been a good boy, Gangsta Grandma.
No, you're not. You're never a fucking good boy. You're just a fucking fluffy. But what the hell's up with that shirt, though? My God. Come on now.
This is pimping. This is pimping, baby.
You what? You're trying to pimp so bad.
I'm pimping hard. Look, I'm
a pimp to pimp to that shit. What the fuck?
This is how you pimp them Hawaii hoes with this. This is pimping Hawaii
You're
hoes.
pimping Hawaii, yeah. That's the fuck shit right there. Golly.
Why you
You're a girly pop-on girl.
Oh my God. So what do you think? This man is obviously judging world leaders and changing as the day goes on.
Let me tell you something about the fucking orange Jesus.
That's mean. That's mean.
Okay, what you gonna do with my ass? No. Hell no.
I'm gonna hit you with this damn shirt. How about that?
You ain't about that life. You know what? Let me tell you something. Timmy. That boy, the little maggot in office, he's all about bullshit. He don't give a fuck about those people. No, they don't give a fuck. None of the, let me tell you, I wish Biden was still in office, because this shit wouldn't be going down like that. Biden will at least try to help him, you know what I mean? But this man don't give a fuck about these people.
Wait a minute. How can you say he doesn't? You're talking about if Biden was in office, it would be much better. Did you not hear them chanting, "Genocide Joe has got to go"? Everybody believed it.
And let me tell you something. I can't stand the far left. The little fuckwads. You know what I mean? Oh, genocide Joe. Well, bitch, look at this. Elections has consequences. Look what you got in fucking office. I would have her in office, and she was trying to get him to stop it. She wanted a ceasefire and everything. But no, they didn't want a black woman in office. No, they wanted this idiot in office. So you know what? Fuck around, you found out. Now look what's happening. Now look.
Yeah, but you can't. We're not giving out participation trophies. You said she was trying. Trump is trying. I mean,
Trump ain't trying to do shit, trying to put a damn resort in there. He don't want those people on that. Like, he even said it. Oh, we're gonna make it look beautiful again. And probably put his damn statue up in there too. What the fuck?
maybe he's had to change the tune.
Oh, he ain't had no change to. The white G man don't have no change to. That white nationals right there don't have no change to. He does not like him. They don't like none of them over there. They don't like him. They don't like them.
I mean, I even have
Israel. He don't like you.
I even have an African American first watchers in the comments saying, "Good job, President Trump." Are you sure he's not? I mean, you got a lot of black folks that even think Trump is doing a good job.
And they want to be white so bad. Yes, master. They want up his ass. Yes, master. They like it. They like the little uncooked fucking meat up down their fucking throat. That's what they want. They want to be that. You know what I mean? Because they want to be white so fucking bad. They're thinking they're gonna be savior. That he's gonna be savior, but no, bitch. They're coming for you next.
I got to get clarity from you for the folks at home. I've heard you clear this up with me, but I want you to explain it to them. What do you mean by the phrase uncooked meat?
Well, you know, you're a man. You may not have seen it.
What the hell is that?
I have seen you, the white cheap man, butt nakedness, and honey, when I say I need Jesus, I went straight lesbian. I tell you, uncooked. Oh my God! I tell you, that's why I'm pro-black. That's why I like my black men. I mean, I can look at them; they're fucking gorgeous. I mean, no Daniel Lane, they fucking like uncooked. You know what I mean? But then you go up there like, golly, you know what I mean? Like, God,
So-
I couldn't do it too.
So you're suggesting that you're suggesting that the genitalia of a Caucasian male resembles uncooked meat.
Uncooked meat. And the women, oh my God, they're worse than the men. Like, they be talking bad shit about black women, honey. Shit.
Oh my
This got a
God.
color on it.
Do you hate white people? Because that's what people often ask me. Does she?
I like normal white people. I do not like the maggots because they're racist. Why do I have to like the racist? Why?
Well,
Why do I have to like the racist?
Why do you have to even fix your mouth to suggest that all MAGA are racist?
You
They're
walk
not.
Like a fucking duck. You quack like a fucking duck. You a duck. Quack, quack. The duck. They listen to him. They believe him, and every damn thing else. They're not up there in the uproar with this with the list and every damn thing else. They're not up there looking like that.
I have folks. Todd Wilkins on YouTube. I got who the hell is this? Charlie on TikTok. They're all saying I voted for Trump and I'm not racist. I mean, there are other.
They have black friends, don't they, too, huh? They have black friends, don't they?
But you would acknowledge there are legitimate reasons to vote for Trump that have nothing to do with racism, though.
Yeah, what? What is so big that they had to fuck us in the ass with all this shit that they're going through, huh? What is it, Timmy? What is it, Timmy boy?
How about making sure your kids don't get fucked up the ass? They believe the LGBTQ community was spreading out too much. They don't want that shoved down the throats of their kids.
Oh my God. Oh my God. We're going to turn your kids into a lesbian that like to eat coochie. No, bitch. I'm bisexual. I love women and men. And let me tell you something. Nobody turned me that way. I got at 5, 6 years old. I like titties, man. Okay, I said, damn. You know what I mean? I like titties. My teacher had nice titties. I'm like, yeah, that's not. You know what I mean? So I knew I liked the females and I liked the dangly. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I hear what
Nobody turned me out.
I hear what you're saying, but the point is there are legitimate reasons to vote for Trump. The economy, border security, foreign affairs, the terrorists that people like.
Foreign affairs? You think he's doing good, foreign affairs? Motherfucker, he's the laughing joke of your world, man. What the fuck? You know, I love me some white people over there. What is that damn, what Trump went to? What is that place he went to this weekend?
Ireland? Or Scotland, rather, Scotland?
Yeah, Scotland. Those white people turned the fuck up. That's
Well-
the kind of white people I like.
Well,
They turned the fuck up.
in regards to what you're talking about, we talked about it on yesterday's show. I'm going to see if I can bring this graph up because this is from yesterday. Now, I mentioned that there's reasons to vote for Trump that don't have anything to do with racism. This graph here, so Wall Street Journal graph, and obviously that's the company that Trump is suing currently, so they're not just conservatives. Trump outranks the liberals on tariffs, the economy, inflation, immigration, and foreign policy. He's beating the liberals on virtually everything we normally vote for except for health care listed here.
You know why? Because you got ignorant ass people on the right. See, the Democrats are more college educated. You know what I mean? We're more smarter than the dipshits are. You know what I mean? They failed in fucking preschool. I don't understand. Their mamas probably dropped on their head. And I'm telling you, they had like sex and shit. You know what I mean? They don't know who their mamas are. They think they're their cousins and every damn thing else. You know what I mean? The shit is fucking sicko on the right side. That's why I never go on that right side. You feel what I'm saying? That's why they think that tariffs are fucking good.
What?
Like they're dumb as fucking hell. They're dumb as bricks.
Well,
You know what I mean?
what's being said is that the tariffs are bringing in a ton of money to America. Is
Our
that?
fucking money, dipshit, Timmy boy, our fucking money. What the fuck?
I'm
What
just,
the fuck? What are you talking about, Willis?
I'm
It's
just,
our fucking money. What paying the damn tariffs?
well, right now, I'm telling you, the price of goods and services have not won misery to what the
Oh
tariffs.
my fucking god, Chin, have you had a steak fucking lately? Are you that broke that you haven't had a steak lately? Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. I went to the store and got me some chuck roast. It was over $10 a pound. $10. And you know how much hawktails are? What oxtails are?
Damn, those sound good. I would love that. I don't know much they are, but they sound good.
You have a white girl. She can't cook.
No, I gotta have a white girl.
you know, they can't cook right.
Oh, my God.
I say, you should get you a sister or something, Jimmy. Quit going out to the white side. You might be able to cook something.
Now, in the comments, Zyme, Z-Y-M-E, that's a hell of a name. Zyme says, dumbass woman can't understand that Democrats want everyone to be slaves. So apparently, folks are seeing a little bit of difference of what you're talking about here. Now,
Slaves? Are you fucking serious, slaves?
this is what I'm reading.
Democrat slave? Well, motherfuckers right now putting people in concentration camps, slave, that's a Democrat, bitch. That's your mama doing that. You feel what I'm saying? That's your Jesus. That's your yes master, bitch. Get the fuck out of here. That's why I can't stand the right side. You see how ignorant they are? And then you over here telling me, why you can be nice.
Why do you automatically assume the right is uneducated? I mean, they just have a difference of
Are you
opinion.
fucking serious, Tim?
Yeah.
They voted against their own fucking interests, dum-dum. Timmy, look what they did. Half the motherfuckers are on welfare, on Medicaid, okay? Half the asses on food stamps. Half the asses will work like that because they can't find jobs like that in the red states. Hello, bitch. What the fuck are you? What? Well, I'm not calling you a bitch. I'm calling them a bitch. What the fuck?
Well,
What the fuck?
listen, there are.
That's not educated?
I mean, you could make the same argument, like folks in California with their high taxes, they keep voting in liberals and they're going to shit. I mean, some people vote against their own best interests.
Not going to shit. No. Our state going to shit, honey. We are the fourth world largest economy, Pookie. We supply everybody in the United States, okay? Our taxes go to all the red states, okay? Because they cannot pay for their own shit. They're broke. Okay.
You got all that. What about all that homelessness that's in your state that we're going to be dependent on?
Homeless in every damn fucking state. How about everybody's state? Huh?
Not like
Everybody has homelessness. Everybody has homelessness.
all that.
Everybody does.
All that homelessness and all of those folks that are laying around, the high taxes. You can barely afford.
And this ain't no lie, Tim. A lot of them come from different states to come to California. They're thinking they're gonna come back up. And it's not like that. You can't come back up from, you know what I mean? It's hard.
But,
and I ain't gonna say I'm not gonna say it's not expensive over here. Fuck yeah, it's expensive.
well, you
But
might perhaps.
I love my state though, because at least I get to go and have an AB when I want to. I get to go and roll up when I want to.
Did you say?
I want to.
Did you just say what I heard? You love California.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me repeat it for folks who didn't catch that. You love California because you get to have an AB, which is terminating the pregnancy whenever you want to.
Yeah. Which what? And what?
You love the fact that you can terminate a pregnancy whenever you want to.
Hell yeah! If I don't want the damn thing, hello, go to the clinic. I don't have to go jump through no hoops, no nothing. It's my body, my choice, and what?
If I don't want
If I
the
don't want it, I'll go get rid of it, and what?
if I don't want the damn thing, you realize that's a human being, right?
I know it's a fetus. It can't, it's a fetus. It's my body, my choice. Just like your dangling, you go stick it in that uncooked meat. That's your body, your choice.
Wait, hold on. Let me make something.
You can't handle a black woman. All you want is uncooked meat. Yes, ma'am.
Let me make something clear. For what men like to, for what men enjoy, it all looks like uncooked meat. You look like uncooked meat on the inside too, so it doesn't matter.
I don't look like uncooked meat, honey. My shit, I'm like a Georgia peach, honey. My shit don't look like that, honey. Oh God, it don't look like that too. I swear you not. I have both. And let me tell you, I never had to play. Now, when I seen it, I said that motherfucker dropped his pants. I said, Lord, I cannot do it. I was drunk as shit too, Tim. Well, when you're drunk, you can fuck. They say you can fuck anything, not this sister. No.
I've never been drunk in my life, so I can't speak on it. But it's all pink on the
I've been
inside.
drunk, cause I ain't gonna lie. You see, I get the Hennessy. I've been faded. You feel what I'm saying? I be like cross-faded. You feel what I'm saying?
How about getting faded enough to wear this hat? That might change your life.
No, I'll be drunk as fuck. I would never touch that. Boy, don't fuck with me like that. Don't fuck with me. Do not fuck with me like that. I can't be like you, bitch. I cannot. I'm not like you, Pookie. I can't just sit on a show and talk to them like you do, and not like want to go and tear their fucking necks off because they're putting us through fucking hell. They don't like us, Timmy. You know what? Your friend, like on right before, said, "I'll go help you." Yeah, with the rope. You know, they don't like you. They don't.
Why would you think something like that?
Because they don't like us. They don't like black and brown folks. What the fuck are you talking about? They want us to be cleansed off this damn United States.
So
Why do you think they're going after the Hispanics right now?
You believe that MAGA wants to take the lives of people of color?
Shit, no, I wouldn't put it past them. Yeah, I would not put it past them. And let me tell you something. Oh, I can't say the full name. Okay, I cannot say the full name. But you know the F, the one that comes across the border and shit. It's not the Mexicans that are bringing it through. It's the white people and all of us that bring it out. Not me personally, but the Americans are bringing it through. Yeah. It's not them. It's the Americans. There's people on here that are strung out and shit. God knows why they be strung out and shit. I like my ganja. That's all I do. I mean, I don't understand how they can pop those damn things. You know what I mean? You fucking around dying on people.
I'm permanently sober. I've never tried anything. I've never even had a damn wine cooler, so I can't speak on it.
You know what? You should roll one up, Pookie. Maybe you will see the light. If you roll one up, so are you suggesting that if I roll one up and try marijuana for the first time, I'll start talking to my callers like you? Shit, no, not technically. You can't be. You don't have the balls enough to be me.
Oh, now I'm missing testicles, huh? Oh my God.
Yeah, because you're not me though, poor child. I'm telling you, Timmy, you're not me. You don't have the balls like me. Okay, I don't have balls.
Well, you do come from the side that has a hard time describing what a woman is. So you're a female with testicles.
I know what a fucking woman is. I just don't worry about trans women. Okay, we're the blueprint. Why the fuck do I gotta justify being a fucking woman? There's trans women that just want to be fucking left alone. I thought I was talking. I'm hearing a woman talking about she has testicles. You're confusing me. I have pretend testicles. I have more masculine than half the motherfuckers and the men, because the men be bowed down to this bitch, Trumpy. I have it like that. I would go head to head with the maggots. You do not go head to head with the maggots. You say, okay, yes, yes. Let me do this. I sent you a live today. But I was strolling at TikTok streets, and I be seeing you on that American
LJ
what's his name?
Lumberjack.
Huh? Can't stand out. Oh man, he will not let me on. I will cut his balls off and shove him in his own throat.
I gotta move it on. You are violent as hell. You can't be talking about the white man talking like that. I gotta move it on, gangster.
Be quiet. Give me a stop, Tim. And let me tell you something. Can you at least push back a little bit? Put me as a co-host. So when you don't push back, I can push back. And I have the motherfuckers in tears. And then we're gonna see white tears on your thing. I promise you. Because I will give them the same fucking energy. And I'll give him facts. Because you know what the facts are, Tim. You're not stupid. Quit acting like you're special. You know what we're saying is legit. They're the stupid ones. Like I said, they vote against their own interests.
I'll leave it at that. Gangsta Grandma, thank you for coming through. All right, moving on with the program. When I say we don't block ban or censor, she always makes the perfect example of that. But we do believe, we go left of Bernie Sanders, so I'm having dinner with Q. So we do occasionally get MAGA that tears into the host the same way. And we push back in ways that we can, but it is. Tap the screen, get the likes on up to about 60,000. If you enjoy civilized, uncensored dialogue from all sides of the aisle, you're in the right place. Feel free to follow the program if you're watching on Instagram or TikTok. Give your boy a subscription if you're watching on YouTube. We're currently on all programs live. Real quick in the comments, as always, my folks on my left, because I got 4 cameras watching me. We're 4 or 5 cameras generally, Instagram, Clapper, YouTube, TikTok. So we're on a lot of platforms. And I'm looking in different directions because the comments are scrolling on the screens all over the damn place. So in effort to keep up with this, you'll notice my eyes going out. You'll be amazed at how many comments say, well, your eyes are, he's going blind. He's cross-eyed. Look, there's a lot going here. Some folks tend to believe that you're ignoring their comments. Let me just make it clear to you folks. Everybody's comment is essentially, as far as I'm being viewed, it's just white lettering. Now, for some of you folks that are kind enough to issue a super chat or a donation, it changes the screen colors. I read 100% of those, but the rest of your comments, people in the comments telling me I'm ignoring them and I'm scared of them. No, your shit just looks like everybody else and I don't see it. It just scrolls on by. I'm literally looking right now at easily 70 comments and they're moving. They're all moving. So nobody's ignoring your comment. They just all look the same. Big dog, yeah! Appreciate the hat and mustache. Thank you very much. I'm from Qatar, says Hassan's family. Wow. You guys are missing the Jedi here. You folks in Qatar. Apparently one of your best, most luxurious jets has come up missing. Somebody apparently is painting the stars and stripes on the side of it. Looking at the comments. Jake says, I know you've seen mine. What are you wearing, Jake? Khakis? Tap the screen, get the lights on up to 60,000. We'll go to the box, continuing on with the program. None other than MAGA Reacts. Good evening, MAGA. Why is it appearing that Trump is changing his stance of how when Trump was elected, his stance on Zelensky, his stance on Putin, his stance on Netanyahu, they all seem to be changing. Why is that?
They're not changing. I don't know why you see everything in like black and white. Is that like the situation? Like all the things he's commenting on are not black and white. And sometimes what he's talking about, you know, leans toward black, sometimes it leans toward white. It's just there's a spectrum.
So you believe his stance on Netanyahu is the same as it was when he took office? It didn't change at all?
Yeah. It's the same. He's always been supportive of Israel, but unlike Biden, he could actually call him out every now and then.
Okay, so when you hear... now we've played this before, but I just want you to hear a few seconds of it because I want to make sure we get clarity on your statement.
To be in a very bad position. He happens to be right about
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. Right now, you don't. You're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling.
Now you believe that he still feels that way about Zelensky?
What do you mean? Yeah. I mean, you're looking at that as he's on Putin's side, and now you're looking at it as he's on Zelensky's side. He's in the middle trying to end a war and trying to, like, you know, negotiate between the two.
He didn't talk, wait, he never talked to Putin in this manner. He's met with Putin, he's had a number of phone calls with Putin. There's no conversation with Putin like this. You're making it sound like he's in the middle. His stance was against Zelensky and favorable to Putin. I don't understand what you're talking about.
It's just normal negotiations, man. You don't understand it. That's why you're on the left and I'm on the right. It's just normal business negotiations.
So you think what's happening here with Zelensky is
talking like that to Zelensky, not because he's like mad at Zelensky. He's just giving him some hard truth to help him help himself. You know, to get him to make the right decision to end the war and not be
MAGA. MAGA, you do realize when Trump became president, he took everything we were giving to the Ukrainians away. Weapons, intelligence. You call that making a business deal?
Why do you? No, he didn't. Listen, he didn't take everything away.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
Why didn't they lose? Why hasn't Russia won?
Because Biden gave them enough to keep fighting. And other nations have stepped up and started helping them out.
Well, then good. As long as, listen, the important part is this war ends. And you have to be in the middle for it to negotiate.
I'm not, how can you stop helping me completely and call yourself in the middle?
I don't think he ever stopped helping him completely. Especially, like, you guys rephrase everything. Like, even with Biden, we weren't constantly sending him weapons. We'd send them weapons, we'd wait till the weapons run out, and we'll send them more. Biden just sent them weapons right before the end, so Trump had some time before he needed to send them more weapons. And he was hoping to end the war, and he wouldn't need to send them weapons.
I believe.
So he sent them weapons.
Yeah, I believe that Trump is on video stating that he's going to start sending the Ukraine weapons again, effectively admitting that there was a pause and he stopped helping them out. Where are you getting? So you believe that Trump has been sending the Ukrainians weapons the whole time?
No, they didn't need any. They didn't need anything yet. They haven't ran out of the first set of weapons we gave them.
So Zelensky's been all over national TV begging for assistance, and you say he didn't need it. You haven't heard him begging for more weapons?
Back before you run out. You have to start ordering the new shit before the old shit runs out. And as far as I know, they haven't ran out of anything.
How do you know that? How do you know they didn't run out?
Because they haven't lost. Russia hasn't rolled over them like they were, farm animals. Like they're still fighting.
Well, they're still fighting for two reasons. One, I stated, other nations stepped up and started helping them out. Two, they started using their own resources to, because the drones they're using on Russia are not very expensive. They started making these anti-personnel drones because their country is being occupied by Russians. So it doesn't take a whole lot to take a lot of these folks out. Just a cheap drone flying overhead with a grenade or some kind of suicide device. So they haven't lost yet because they've been fighting. But the idea that we didn't stop helping them, I don't understand where you're getting that from.
Except for cutting off intelligence once or twice, but we always turned it back on once Zelensky played ball. We stopped helping them for maybe a day or two. But for the most part, they've had our intelligence support, they've had our logistical support. I don't think we really stopped helping them. If we would have really stopped helping them, they would have lost already. We were not helping them. Step up was a election promise, so that was part of the Trump getting elected thing, getting Europe to step up and also support Ukraine.
Yeah, that makes no sense. We were not helping them at the time this video was filmed, and it was longer than a day. That's the reason Ukraine came over here to the White House, is to ask for weapons. That's the reason that Trump met with him at the funeral of the Pope, is to ask for weapons. That went on way longer than a day. What are you talking about? He met with...
As far as I know, when it comes to actual, help, the only thing we did was we turned off intelligence for, a day because Zelensky was giving us issues with something. And once he fucking corrected things, then we turned it back on.
Yeah.
And as far as the weapons, he has all the weapons he needs, and now that he needs more, he's getting it. So
okay.
I don't think they were out of bullets. So...
I'm just gonna tell you,
it's also part of the plan. So I don't know, where we're. I don't know.
I don't even think most MAGA agree with you. I think it was fairly common knowledge that when Trump got in office, we started cutting back, if not eliminating, all the assistance we were giving to Ukraine. It's a night and day difference. I mean, what Biden was doing for the Ukraine and Trump is like night and day, and you're making it sound like, well, we were still helping them. That's just flat out false.
This is a trick Democrats play all the time. They tell you if you're not increasing the help, you're cutting it off. So if you don't increase money to Medicaid, you're actually cutting it. Even though the money in Medicaid is same year to year, if you don't increase it, you're cutting it. So if you're not increasing the weapons you're sending to Ukraine, you're actually cutting it. And that's how they justify saying that shit. But I doubt we ever fucking cut weapons.
You do realize Trump ran on America first. We're going to stop sending money to the Ukraine and stop sending money to these overseas countries. He literally ran on that. So what are you saying? He lied and he kept doing it anyway?
No, he can't have Ukraine lose either. He ran on ending the war. He never said he was going to take side or be pro-Ukraine or pro-Russia. He said he's going to end the war. Same with Gaza and Israel.
So if he
he had to take more of an active role than he wanted, but
so he ran on ending the war. He became president, and he only continued helping out one side, because we weren't giving weapons to Russia. So according to you, we continue sending weapons to the Ukraine. And that's how he was going to end the war, by essentially doing the same thing Biden did. Is that what you're telling me?
no, unlike Biden, he was actually having peace talks. He was actually reaching out to Putin. You name one time that fucking Biden or Harris or anybody called Putin to try to end this war. All they say is it was futile.
I'm not aware. I was going to say, I'm not aware that Biden or Kamala Harris ever reached out to Putin, as you're pointing out, but I want you to hear this.
I would have said 5 times we would have had a deal. I've spoken to President Putin a lot, and then President Putin goes out and starts launching rockets into some city like Kiev and kills a lot of people in a nursing home or whatever. You have bodies lying all over the street. I'm disappointed in President Putin. Very disappointed in him. So we're going to have to look, and I'm going to reduce that 50 days that I gave him to a lesser number, because I think I already know the answer what's going to happen. I'm going to make a new deadline of about 10 or 12 days from today. There's no reason in waiting. We just don't see any progress being made.
The reason that Kamala Harris and Biden didn't reach out to Putin because they don't want to sound like this idiot 7 months later. That was 7 wasted months reaching out to this guy, accomplishing absolutely nothing. And how many people died while he was reaching out to this guy that he is now admitting the whole time the guy was still bombing and killing people?
We don't know many more people died than they would have normally died. 2, I mean,
What?
you're never an idiot if you're pursuing peace. You know what? Like, I'd rather he pursued peace and failed than never pursue it in the first place. It's fucking sad if you just want war and you don't want to even try for fucking peace. That's, he gets points for trying for peace. I know you keep saying no participation.
That is a definition of a participation trophy. That really is. He gets credit for trying to get peace. You wouldn't give credit to Biden for trying to be peaceful. You would blame Biden for being an inept, weak leader that wasn't able to accomplish his goal. That's what Trump is dealing with here. But in his case, he gets ever trying. If Biden tried and failed, we would be calling him a weak, inept leader.
Because the other guy didn't even try. Biden didn't even try. If Biden would have tried, and then Trump wouldn't have done any effort for trying.
If Biden had reached out to Putin, tried to maintain some level of peace and failed, MAGA would be saying that shows you Putin is laughing at the United States and laughing at Biden while he's killing Ukrainians. They would have been referring to him as an inept, weak leader that failed doing that. That's what they wouldn't be giving him credit for trying.
Guess what? He did the same thing with Biden. He did the same thing with Iran. You guys were laughing at him when he said, "Oh, now let's have peace with Iran," and you guys laughed like, "I can't believe he wants peace," after he bombed them. And what? 3 days later, we got peace. If the Iran thing happened under Biden, we'd still be fighting Iran.
No.
But because it happened under Trump, it only lasted 12 days.
No, Trump didn't get peace with Iran. Trump bullied them into shutting the fuck up. I mean, if Iran was in position to fight back, they would have fought back. They didn't stop fighting because Trump negotiated some kind of peace deal the day after bombing their parts of their infrastructure. They didn't fight back because they thought it would be useless. It's like you going and hitting a toddler in the face and saying, "Well, we got peace because he didn't fight back." I mean, they don't have the ability to fight back. How can we suggest that a country that's yelling death to America, we're claiming that they're saying that all the damn time, but we can bomb them into peace? And that makes sense.
I mean, you see Ukraine fighting back. Why can't Iran do the same thing?
Because Ukraine has people, the Ukrainians have people assisting them. They don't have the two biggest juggernauts on the planet attacking them simultaneously. My guess is if you had China and Russia attacking the Ukrainians simultaneously, they would probably surrender. I mean, the United States and Israel together?
I don't have a time machine. I can't prove what ifs. I can only prove what I've seen with my own eyes. And the fact is, you know, a war like that ended in 11 days, which all of you guys, all you Dems, Michael, all of them was crying, oh, go buy oil before the oil prices go up. You know, what the fuck happened to the oil prices? They went down. You know, how many Democrats were crying, oh, we gotta go get oil prices are gonna skyrocket? Never happened.
It's funny you suggest that the war ended in 11 days because when that was happening, MAGA was adamant there is no war taking place. Now all of a sudden it stopped. Well, you know that the war only took 11 days. Everybody was denying a war was happening at all. Now all of a sudden, well, he ended it in 11 days. Hurrah, hurrah! So it was a war. Trump did start a war.
There was an Israel-Iran war. There was no USA-Iran war.
Okay.
That is the nuance of it.
So
black and white, it's multicolored.
So Israel and Iran were at war for 11 days, and the United States was not involved in it.
No, we were involved. We were in a war.
What is your definition of a war? What is your definition of a war?
A prolonged conflict, more than one strike. You know, an actual fight that lasts more than one strike. That's all we did. So because Bin Laden only hit us on September 11th, that was not an act of war. It was only 1 day. Oh, it was an act of war, but it wasn't war.
Okay, you're playing semantics with words. What is the difference between an act of war and an actual war?
An act of war starts a war. An actual war is the actual constant fights of a war, like of a long battle.
So an active war starts a war. So in other words, what the United States did was starting a war with Iran.
It could have started a war, yes, 1,000%. That's why I was against it, and I was mad at him. I'm still mad at him for doing it. Just because it worked out in favor doesn't mean I wasn't mad at him for doing it.
Why is
I
this?
also points for ending it in like 11, 12 days, whatever it was.
Why is it so hard to get you to admit the truth? So now you're admitting that what the United States did to Iran was an act of war, which, as you say, starts a war. So the United States did go to war with Iran.
They committed an act of war, but it didn't start a war. Okay? Again, you want everything to be black and white and to be like fucking so clear, but everything's life is more complicated than that.
I have never heard somebody say.
And you guys like you guys pretend like everything's simple to use it against Trump, and I'm like, and then when it's the other side, you complicate things, like the border not being closed or the border not being open under Biden. It's like, oh no, the border was closed.
I think you're on by yourself. Everybody in the comments can clearly see you're playing pretzel and master with this stuff. I mean, the idea you're saying that Trump promised no new wars. Now all of a sudden he bombs Iran, and to prevent from saying that this guy backtracked on his promise and started a war. No, it wasn't. He didn't start a war. It's an act of war. And the only reason it didn't get worse is because Iran didn't respond to it. But Trump did take us to war. Period. You're admitting it's an act of war which starts a war.
You don't think if Trump was like, we're gonna kill all these people, we're just, we're gonna keep bombing them? You don't think if Trump, you think Iran would have been like, let's have peace if Trump didn't at least ask for it? Like, I know it was the ball was on Iran's side, but Trump still had to request peace for them to actually be like, all right.
It has nothing to do with peace. Robert Kennedy on YouTube makes the perfect response. 3 words. Iran can't respond. After Israel has softened up all their air defenses and shit like that, the last thing they can do is respond to a bombing by the United States thousands of miles away. It wasn't that Iran didn't see it or took it in all these other directions you're talking about. They don't have the ability to respond. Can't respond. That's why I used the toddler example. You don't punch the toddler and when it was a fight, he would get up and fight me back. He can't, knock them, knock them out. I mean, Ron cannot respond.
There's another toddler named Gaza that's, that you never know. If Trump was around when it started, he might have been able to end it quickly. Gaza's another toddler. You're not like, and that conflict's still going until today.
Gaza is definitely.
Why didn't that end in 11 days?
Gaza, because Israel is just trying to eliminate the people there. When's the last time you heard of an Israeli getting killed? They're supposedly at war with Hamas. When's the last time you heard of any Israelis dying in this? It is 100% one-sided. That's not a war. It's just a slaughter at this point.
Listen, Israeli lost me a while ago. Like, again, I started out pro-Israel. I'm friends with a bunch of Israelis. I work today with Israelis. I have best friends, both Palestinian and Israelis. Like, I don't like this conflict whatsoever, but Israel has pretty much lost me because, they keep killing these people. They're, like you said, they're a toddler. They're still killing them. And I'm like, just fucking give them their food and let them lick their wounds at least. Well, perhaps I got to move it on, but perhaps it's what Trump said, is that the end goal is to take their land and kick them off of it. That might be the end goal because, he's well. Believe that.
Huh?
I'm starting to believe that.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm starting to believe that. Like,
yeah.
They're not proving you otherwise.
Yeah. I mean, because we're well beyond the Israelis claiming that they're doing anything in self-defense. At this point, the only thing they're trying to use to defend themselves is we still want the hostages back, which are all, considering the amount of starvation that's going on in that area, all of the hostages are long dead. So you're bombing all these people because you want remains back? You want the remains of a few people back, so you're just going to keep killing people to get remains. I mean, at this point, it's impossible to defend Israel at this point. They're just murdering people.
And I stopped defending him a while ago. I called one of my Israeli friends, like, what the fuck are you guys thinking? Like,
They're thinking revenge for... They're thinking revenge. They're trying to get revenge for Buchenwald, sounds like. I got to move it on, MAGA. Thanks for coming through.
One last thing.
Real quick.
When you cut me off yesterday, that was straight up censorship, by the way. I didn't even get to talk about how...
You make it hard. For you to say that Trump says things and you got to listen to him 10 times before you believe him, you actually said that if Trump threatens to bomb a country...
He says a lot of shit.
You actually said that if Trump threatens to bomb a country, they need to hear him say it 10 more times before they start preparing for the bombing. Wasn't nothing else I can do with the conversation after that. There was nothing else I can do.
Once, and you guys take it as Bible, like the God said it. Which is crazy to me.
Okay, well, I go back to my original statement. You're the leader of the free world. Ain't nobody... You're the leader of the free world. Hold on. You're the leader of the free world. What you say, people are going to listen to. They're not going to wait till you repeat it over and over and over again before they see validity to it. That's crazy. That's what you were saying yesterday.
But he says so much, you really can't take it all so serious.
You're the leader of the free world. You're the leader of the free world. People are not people. If you say you're gonna do something today, people gonna take that seriously today. Everybody don't have the ability to listen to him over and over again. Everybody don't have the internet and shit like that. If you're sitting in the middle of Ghana and you happen to see him at an internet cafe saying some dumb shit, you may not have 9 more times to see him. So the idea that people are gonna keep hearing him is crazy.
He's been saying dumb shit for 10 years, and
you elected him. And you elected him. I gotta go.
I think it's more good.
All right.
Again,
I gotta go. He just said the man has been saying dumb shit for 10 years. If that's the case, MAGA, why not Nikki Haley or Ron DeSantis or Tim Scott or Vivek Ramaswamy was saying the same stuff Trump did? Then why not vote somebody else in? I'm not saying you gotta go liberal, but if you're saying that he's been saying dumb shit, as he put it, for the last 10 years, you could have got many of the same policies out of some of those other guys. How do you know he does a better job? You didn't elect any of them. How do you know he would do a better job than Vivek Ramaswamy? You didn't give Vivek a chance. Vivek Ramaswamy was really offering no difference in policies. Remember Kamala Harris? She goes on The View and says, I wouldn't do anything different than Joe Biden, which hurt her. Some cite as the reason why she lost. Vivek was doing the same thing for Trump. He wasn't promising to do anything different. They had a couple debates, like 9 of them was running, and not one criticism of Trump came from Vivek. He was going to give you the same shit. So why not Vivek then? He doesn't say, he says dumb shit on. You literally said he's been saying dumb shit for 10 years. Wow. Okay. And now my last caller is in the comments saying Vivek is too young. But so you vote for a guy who's 79. Is there nowhere in the middle? Vivek Ramaswamy is too young. So you're voting for a guy with swollen ankles and having to put makeup on his hand to hide the spots. No middle ground? Really? Let me continue on with the program. Jesus. Tap the screen. Get us on up to 70,000 in the likes. Show your boys some love. Follow the program if you happen to be watching on TikTok or Instagram. If you're on YouTube, give your boy a solid. Feel free to smash that sub button and smash the like button as well. Big reason why she lost is 118 over. Well, Kamala likely lost for a lot of reasons. In addition to that one, that is certainly getting up there when Biden is not popular, when the Democrats are polling. Their polling numbers are in the tank and saying I wouldn't do anything different than Biden. I don't know who schooled Kamala Harris on how to speak in the media, but to say something like that is insane. Look, even if a president's doing a good job, following up by saying I wouldn't do anything different is a terrible answer because any politician is going to be doing something wrong. MAGA believes Trump is doing a good job. So if you're on a right-wing program, do you get up there and say, I wouldn't do anything different from Trump at all? Of course not. Because MAGA believes Trump is doing some things wrong too. There's plenty of MAGA that does not like the blind following of Israel, for instance. Some folks do not like what's going on with the Epstein list. I mean, never answer a question by saying I would not do anything different at all. So I don't know who schooled Kamala on that, but she certainly was not ready for that. India and China have skirmishes all the time. In fact, some people have been shot over it because of the borders that they share. Is that considered war? Only Congress can declare war. No, this is a little bit different than that, JC. You're saying that India and China have skirmishes all the time. Is that when you literally plan a mission to fly over a country with bombers in the middle of the night and take out, that's, yeah. Look, you got North Korea and South Korea right across the 38th parallel or something like that. There might be somebody taking a pot shot here or there. That's happened across the U.S. border with some of the cartel members and some of the border rallies firing across the border. That's totally different than flying bombers inside somebody's airspace and destroying whole facilities in there, trying to take out the infrastructure and shit like that. Big, big difference between that. Not only that, but we know for a fact that that Israel and Iran were at war for a number of days. They were at war, actively lobbing missiles and ordnance at each other. Israel was doing airstrikes on Iran. Iran was launching missiles at Israel. They're actively at war. And the United States was shooting down the Iranian missiles that were firing back at Israel. That is a war, plain and simple. There is no way in hell that if we were dealing with Iraq, the fight we had in Vietnam years ago, or any of our other conflicts, and some third party was shooting down our weapons while the other country was shooting us, we would view that as war. There's no other way we would call that. What we were doing to the Iranians was an act of war. The only saving face or saving grace, as my last caller tried to suggest, is, well, it's not war because Iran didn't fight back. Okay, then blame that on the Iranians, but America was doing everything it takes to start a war with Iran. They just didn't declare it back on us because they couldn't respond. There's no way in hell we would let anybody do any of the shit we was doing to Iran without us declaring war on them. No one. So the idea that it was not a war is bullshit. We would be eager. You'd have the military swelling up with enlistees if somebody did to us what we were doing to Iran. People would be joining them. Some country fly over to America and striking nuclear facilities deep within the heart of America and claiming that it's not an act of war. We didn't start a war with the United States. Look, you can't pass over piss as rain. That makes no sense. Anyway, looking in the comments, okay, timeline. Bondi, we have, you guys are still knocking those Epstein files. I see in the comments, look, the Epstein files are not going to go away. Fact is, I'm willing to talk about the Epstein files on future shows, buddy. We can't talk about the Epstein files every fucking night. Trump is trying his best to keep that shit under wraps. We get it. He's not doing what many thought he campaigned on. We get it. He doesn't want the information contained in the Epstein files to be public. We get it. But it can't, every show can't consist of Epstein. It just can't. Unless there's new information coming out. It all can't consist of Epstein. I'm not saying we should stop talking about it. I get the value in talking about it. But we gotta talk about other issues that are going on in the country as well. Thoughts on the MLK files? I don't know. You know, I know the family didn't want the MLK files to come out. I don't know what good it'll do. Look, I think everybody's opinion on the MLK files is already solidified. I think most Americans, certainly African Americans, do not believe the guy that they threw in prison for killing Martin Luther King is the guy that did it, or is the only guy behind it. I think most Americans that are of color, and probably a hell of a lot of white Americans too, believe that the government had something to do with that. We know that the FBI was trying to badmouth this guy and dirty him up at every turn, and all of a sudden he turns up dead. My guess is you don't even need to get the files. All of the players are likely dead anyway, but if I had to guess, the U.S. government took part in killing MLK. I'll just leave it at that. If I had to guess, they either did it, hired the person that did, trained the person that did, or done something to protect the person that did. But I agree with, I think it says Moonchild in the comments. It's a distraction. Most of America don't care about that. That's way down on the list. They want the Epstein files. And I've often used the example of a fighter jet containing Trump and Epstein being shot at, and they're dumping flares to deflect the missiles. Everything from Rosie O'Donnell's citizenship to Alligator Alcatraz, stories out of that. They're talking about the MLK files, just constantly dumping shit in hopes that the missile will track that instead of the Epstein jet. They don't want that to come out. I mean, I think that's pretty apparent. Will they be successful? Probably not. People are going to keep knocking that. And now, obviously, the liberals have jumped on board as well because they see blood in the water. But it's pretty clear that Trump does not want the Epstein stuff to come to light. And the information he's given on it has been so inconsistent, it's hard to see it any other way. Hanson, the government wanted MLK gone. Yeah, a lot. Yeah, because he was creating a mess. I mean, yeah, of course they wanted him gone. That's why I said I believe the government took part in the demise of MLK. And I don't think we'll ever know the total outcome of that. But I think Trump would much rather I think Trump would be okay with you knowing the government had something to do with the death of MLK than knowing what happened with Epstein. Because that ain't got nothing to do with it. He's 100% sure that ain't got shit to do with him. The Epstein stuff may actually implicate him. So if I got to rat out everybody that was, acting up during the civil rights era, I don't mind doing that if it'll take the heat off me. What's the money line on Tim giving us an Irish goodbye? What is an Irish goodbye? Alter ego. What is an Irish? I would like to know that. What is an Irish goodbye? Also, it's a pot shot when other countries do it, but when we do it, it's a war. It's called precision strikes. But no. I've never seen a country go over and bomb somebody's nuclear facilities and call it a pot shot. It's a war. I mean, the Israelis, rather. They've done that to Iran. They've done it to Syria. The Israelis have. All of those are called a war. Israel's known for doing that shit. The idea that we could fly over, 1,000 miles deep within the airspace of another country and bomb specific facilities and somehow try to say it's not an act of war. If Biden did this shit, it would be an act of war. Period. I mean, look, if you favor Trump, I get it. But when you start trying to defend him in ways that are not even logical or reasonable, it's hard to really have a conversation. If Biden did what Trump did, Trump himself would be calling Biden a warmonger. Trump himself would be calling that an act of war. I just don't understand how, in defense of Trump, we're trying to actually change what the definition of an act of war is. And then my last caller said, no, it's not an act of war. It's not war. It's an act of war. Okay. All right. People need to know there are no sides other than rich versus poor, Democrat, Republican, same bird. I don't think that's true. Democrats and Republicans, I mean, there's a lot of other issues that have nothing to do with wealth. The Democrats and the Republicans are not on the same side when it comes to abortion, when it comes to immigration, when it comes to social programs. They're not of the same bird. Them programs, them things that I just mentioned, the outcome is vastly different depending on which side you vote in. So I don't buy that Democrats and Republicans are of the same bird. A lot of issues that affect you specifically can change vastly depending on if you vote in school lunch programs. One side wants kids in school to have free lunch. The other side is saying, no, it should be on the parents. Universal health care, all of that shit. That's Republican versus Democrat. Ain't got nothing to do with rich versus poor. That's Republican and Democrat. So they're not the same bird. I don't buy that. A whole bunch of things that change drastically. Simply voting Republican versus Democrat. Even the way we deal with crime in this country. How serious we are, how sympathetic we are if somebody committed crime, and the whole notion of, everybody deserves a second chance, that changes dramatically from Democrat to liberal. So they're not of the same bird. Democrats used to be for the working man. I still think the Democrats are more. I understand the power of capitalism, but I still believe the Democrats are more for the working man, and I believe the Republican Party is more for the employer. Once I believe the Democrats are more for the employees, the Republican side is more for the employers. Because you hear the Democrats often talking about unions and increasing minimum wage and the stuff that is for the employee. You hear the Republicans talking about small businesses can't afford to increase the minimum wage, and small business can't afford to give you health care, and what you're doing is going to hurt small business. They're for the employers. The Democrats are for the employees. Anything the Democrats ask for, the Republicans say it's going to hurt the employer. That's who they're defending. And the Democrats are always talking about the employees. So now I think the Democrats are still more favorable to the working man. Are they perfect? No. But you don't hear the Democrats talking about busting unions. I mean, the unions are solely for the working man. They're not for the employer. That's something the Democrats. Minimum wage is something the employer is going to have to pay. Something that would benefit the employee. Who's on which side of the minimum wage argument? Same thing with universal health care and all that stuff. So I absolutely think that the Democrats are more for the employee. Continuing on in the comments, I will continue on real quick here. Asking, why is Trump changing his stance so greatly on world leaders? Yee.
Hey, Tim.
Good
How are
evening.
you, my friend?
I'm doing good. What am I getting wrong?
All right. So first of all, I wanted to ask you two questions.
Sure.
First of all, do you bring certain people up because it makes the live a little bit more entertaining?
I want to deliver an entertaining program, but I do want to speak to as many MAGA as possible. I don't get them as much, so I often give MAGA a little bit more priority. I just don't get my hands on as many of them because right now Trump is president. There's more criticism of Trump, so MAGA runs away from the program. When we're criticizing Biden or the liberals, MAGA comes to the program. So I will give MAGA more preference.
No. And the reason why I say that, right, is because, listen, Tim, and I say this because, you know what?
Sure.
I care about you. I care about this show.
Okay.
Why do you allow people to talk to you that way? What I'm talking about, and I have no problem saying who it is, Gangsta Granny.
I cannot tell you.
Like that?
I was in the, let me tell you something. It's a funny story. I was in the gas station the other day, and I stopped in for coffee during the morning and, and all that while I'm doing my day job. The cashier's talking to me about Gangsta Grandma. I saw you last. Like, it is amazing. I hear stories about gangster grandma everywhere. Look, I bring her on because I do believe in an uncensored program. I do have a few subscribers. She is one of my subscribers. I want to make sure I acknowledge them. And I want to show that we don't block, ban, or censor. If I got right-wingers that are as equally as passionate as her and critical as her, Twisted 77 and MAGA Reacts and Jeremy, some of them, I bring them up too.
And you know what? I just want to say, my guy, listen. As a Hispanic, I voted for Trump 100%. And there are reasons.
What is you're Hispanic? What is the nation of origin? Your ancestry?
Yes. So I'm Cuban and I'm Ecuadorian.
Do you agree with them getting rid of TPS status for Cubans?
That's a tough one. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know how I feel about it because I'm not so educated on it.
You know what it is, don't you?
Members would be.
You know what TPS status is, right?
Correct. Yeah. So TPS status is basically the rights from when Fidel Castro and all of them took over Cuba, and basically they came back to this place. I'm sorry, not this place, to the United States, in Mariel, basically.
Well,
So
after what the Castros did to the citizens over there, the America made it so that if you can reach the U.S., you can stay here. We understand by nature of who your leaders are that your country's fucked up. So if you can find a way to get here, we'll let you stay. Now Trump has removed that provision for them, which is called temporary protected status, TPS. Now you said you're kind of up in the air about that. What? So that means you're kind of leaning on the fence about it?
So I'm gonna tell you this much, right? I believe, I don't care what country you're from, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you do not have proper status in this country, you need to wait in line, and you need to come into this country legally. I don't care where you're from.
Now, you know, being of Cuban descent, how awful they were or they are to the Cuban people. There's no ability to wait in line when you're in Cuba. What are you talking about?
100. So 100%. Look, I will say this much, right? This is why I have mixed views. But at the same time, I really think that there should be a faster way of getting here. Do you know, like...
How much faster is TPS? Just come here and you can stay.
I'm not just talking about Cuba. I'm talking about for every country.
Well,
right?
no, but let's stick to the country that you're from. Let's first go with Cuba. You can talk about other countries.
United States. I was born in the United States, but my ancestry is from these countries. Correct.
So without TPS, you would be born in Cuba.
Correct.
And you're on the fence whether or not he should have removed. So part of you says it was a good thing to remove TPS.
Yes, because I want the protection for my nation. Right? I want my kids, my future kids, to be able to be safe.
Do you have any family? Do you have any family that's still in Cuba?
I have a couple of uncles, and I have an aunt. Like, I'm not close to them, but.
So if one of them was trying to flee, and they show up at Key West on some type of a raft or something, you would tell them to turn around and go back?
100%.
Damn, that's cold. That's fucking cold.
I'm gonna be real.
Wow.
I'm gonna follow the laws.
Wow. Okay. All right. Go Trump. Damn. Okay. So
You know what? But hold on. One other thing that I wanted to say, right? And then we'll go back to this. Sorry, I wanted to say this before.
hold on. Let me.
I forget what it said.
Go ahead and say. Let me put on my socks because you're making my feet cold. You freezing me. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I'm listening to you.
So before anyone goes and calls Trump racist, I want them to define the word racist. That's all I gotta say.
Okay. Well,
Because if they're gonna call him Orange Man or the Orange Cheeto, that is talking about someone's race. That's all I gotta say.
okay. Well, according to the Google, racist is, I typed in the word racist, characterized by or showing prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism against a person or people on the basis of their membership in a particular racial or ethnic group, typically one that is a minority or marginalized. There's a whole lot of argument to be made that Trump has done all of that.
Can you give me an example?
Shithole cities. He's kicking out brown people, but some kind of way he found a way to let in some South Afrikaners that were white. Small number of them, but for some reason he let them in, and he's going to send the Haitians back to a war-torn country. But for some reason, just losing property in South Africa was enough to come to the United States. I mean,
I don't agree with that.
huh?
I don't agree with that.
I'm just letting you know it's following this definition you're talking about.
So okay, if you look at the word racist, right? It's basically due to someone's race, someone's ethnicity.
Okay.
So like, let's just say, for example, right? If I were to go to someone and say, "Hey, listen, I don't like you because you're purple, black, white, brown, red, orange."
Which
It doesn't matter,
racists,
right?
and by the way, racists never do that, but keep going.
But what I'm saying though is, if you look at Trump's history, right? Let's look at Trump's history.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what he did for? Do you remember what he did for Hudson?
For who?
When her family was going through the shit that she went through
Okay.
with losing her family, what did Trump do? Trump went and paid for the whole freaking funeral service of Hudson.
Okay.
Okay.
So that.
Now-
Okay, so he did a good deed, but that doesn't exclude him from being racist. There were a whole bunch of people that let Negroes stay in the houses during slavery. That doesn't mean that they weren't racist.
My point is with this, okay, so do you think, let's just look at a genius, right?
Okay.
Ben Carson. Ben Carson is a surgeon. The guy's genius.
Okay.
Do you really think if Ben Carson, the way he is, do you think he would really support Trump if he was racist? Let's be honest.
Yeah. I think that that fought on the side of the Confederates during the Civil War. I think that if a person thinks that they can benefit from something, they're willing to support the other side. You've had Americans go to the Middle East and fight on behalf of ISIS. I think Obama droned one of them. Some people fight for what we would perceive as against their best interests. It's happened before. There were Americans that fought on behalf of the Germans in World War II. It happens every war. So yeah, people do that sometimes.
I don't know. I sense something different about Trump.
Well,
He tells it like it is. That's just personally my intuition. So what I feel is why I voted for him.
mm-hmm.
The fact that I just think that he is. Can he tone down a little bit? Yes, 100%. And I would love for him to. But what I will say though, right, is what I do like about him is that he will speak his mind. He will say what's wrong and what's right. Now, does that mean I agree with everything that he says? No, I don't. And get this, I'm an independent.
Okay.
I'm an independent. You know what? There's one guy that I actually do like.
Which is?
Democratic side. Westmore, the governor from Maryland.
Okay.
I like him. He has a lot of potential, and if he ran over a Republican that I did not like, I'd vote for him hands down.
I mean, look, I could see maybe some Democrats being favorable to some folks on the right, but in regards to President Trump, like I was saying, I mean, the guy runs his mouth, and there are consequences to doing that. Trump says a lot of bad things about people. That's just like Trump. He hates Democrats, so they all hate America. Okay, you believe all Democrats hate America. groaning for them to say you're racist? I mean, if you're going to throw around generalizations, you got to expect that sometime they may come back at you.
I don't think Democrats hate America.
No.
It's not all of them.
Well,
But
go ahead.
I mean, there's some I'm convinced that do, right?
What is your definition of hating America? How do you know when somebody hates America?
Wanting what's bad for America to happen.
What do you mean by bad for America?
So, an example, okay? Here's an example of that. Omar?
Ilhan Omar, yeah.
Yes, she is someone who is bad for America. She is someone who I am convinced hates America because of some of the stuff that she has said. Some of the comments that she has said is very impeachable.
Give me an example of something she said that makes you believe she hates America.
Wasn't there a really, really big controversy where she had said, don't quote me on it because I can't remember the exact quote, but what I will tell you is this much. She said something about like how because of her religion or whatever, that she wanted death to America or something like that. It was something similar to what. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, you if you're watching right-wing media, you're going to hear stuff like that. I mean, you should have clear cut. For you to say something like you said about her, you should have clear quotes. I mean, the death to America. I don't believe that the Congresswoman said that while being a Congresswoman.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
No,
I
you're
just
good,
want to
you're
say
good.
about this, okay? Next time I come on your show, I will find it, and I'll show the exact quote that she said.
But then I have to ask you then, how do you feel about Trump posting a picture of the current president of the United States hogtied in the back of a pickup truck? Does that mean he hate America when he does that?
Repeat that again, I'm sorry.
Trump going on social media and posting a picture of the current president, which was Joe Biden at the time, hogtied in the back of a pickup truck. President Trump doing that. Does that mean he hates America? Why would you post a picture of the president hogtied in the back of a pickup truck? Or in the trunk of a car, rather?
That's not something he should have did. I don't agree with that at all. Again, I didn't vote for Trump because of a lot of his actions. I voted for Trump because of what he could do for me. Right?
Yeah.
That's exactly why I voted for him. Okay. What he can do for my future generation of children.
And so, just to be clear, you do agree with his immigration, his policies on securing the border. You agree with that? You mentioned the TPS.
100%. Because the reason why I am for it is because I don't trust it. I don't trust it.
You don't trust
because
what?
How do you know who we're letting in? I'm sorry, but through the Biden administration, not a lot of people were being vetted. There weren't. And my thing is, okay, if you're vetted, if I were president of the United States, this is what I would say to him, okay? If you could come into this country, right?
Mm-hmm.
Prove that you are safe, have no criminal history, can contribute to this country, then okay, let's speed up the process, but let's get you here legally.
Okay, let's be clear. Your own ancestry is from Cuba. If you came from Cuba, do you think the Castro brothers would give people a criminal history on you? Because you said, I need you to prove that you're safe so that we can let you in. You think a country like where your family came from would even provide criminal history on the people that's fleeing there? Could you even get that?
Back then, no.
Could you get it? Could you even get it now?
I believe you can.
You believe that if somebody migrated to the United States from Cuba, the United States government could pick up the phone and call Cuba and says, give me this person's criminal history, and they would do it.
I believe that when there's a will, there's a way. I believe.
What does that mean?
If the president wanted that enough, they could get it.
So you believe the president is going to personally make all these phone calls? What about Haiti? Haiti did not even have a government in place, just like Venezuela didn't for a while. So if you came over from Venezuela or you came over from Haiti, there was no government in existence. How do you get somebody's criminal rap sheet from a country that has no active government? Somali's another country. No government in place. How do you get their criminal history to know they're safe if there's no government in place?
So if there is no government in place, so see, that's where I know this is where you got me, and I have no issues admitting that 100%. I don't know.
Okay. Well, Trump is so how do you feel? Because I mentioned the TPS status with the Cubans, but that's not the only country he's done it to. He's done it to Nicaragua, the folks from Honduras. We're going to talk about also Haiti. Haiti is in a position now where they don't have a stable government. They're still dealing with basically what amounts to a civil conflict going on over there. We have a level 4 do not travel to Haiti. Trump, the folks were given TPS status in this country because of how bad their country is. Trump not only wants to get rid of their TPS status, he wants to shorten it so that they have to go home immediately. Do you agree that we should send the Haitians back to that environment?
See, again, this is where I want the protection of my country 100%. That is why I'm the way I am about it.
What part of the country are you in?
I'm originally from Florida. But I actually, through scholarship, I'm in school right now.
Okay.
At university.
What?
I'm in Utah.
You're in Utah. Do you feel like the streets of Utah or even Florida, do you feel safer walking down the streets of Florida or Utah now that he's deporting all these folks? You feel like it's a safer America now?
I will tell you this much, right? Utah has always been a very friendly state. Doesn't matter where you're from. Out here we have Ecuadorians, Cubans, Brazilians. We have almost every race out here. Mexicans. It's very diverse.
But you do have ICE out there. You have ICE out there deporting people too, right?
No, but I've worked with a lot of Venezuelans.
That ain't what I'm asking you. I'm asking you, is ICE not in Utah also deporting people who were here undocumented or illegally?
I have not seen them. I'm going to be honest with you.
Okay.
So I don't know.
But they are in Florida, where you're from.
Correct, and I'm from Miami.
Do you feel the streets of Miami are safer now that Trump is doing this?
Yes, I do.
You feel like the crime rate in Florida is dropping, in Miami is dropping?
Through the work of the governor, through immigration, through a lot of things. Through immigration, through rounding up gang members, etc., holding them accountable, 100%.
All right, fair enough.
It's not just immigration. It's a lot of things.
Well, but we're focusing on immigration. That's what our conversation is about. Do you feel that getting rid of these folks that are here illegally or even undocumented, because we're getting rid of grandmas and shit like that too, it's not just people who came here yesterday. In some cases, it's people who came here, during the last generation. Do you feel like you're saying that getting rid of these people is making the country safer?
Yeah, 100%.
All right, fair enough. Well, we'll have to end up seeing what the crime rate is in various areas. I'm not aware. I mean, I'm from Chicago, and I don't feel like the streets of Chicago is any safer, even though there's ICE raids going on everywhere. I mean, violence in Chicago is violence in Chicago. I don't believe personally where you differ. I don't believe most of the violence in Chicago is being perpetrated by these people. I don't believe most of the violence in any community in America is primarily being perpetrated by these people. But you have a difference of opinion.
Let me ask you this question, Tim, and then I'm going to give someone else the floor because I want to be generous. But One thing I want to ask you is this, right? Let's look at the job that Gavin Newsom has done, right? Let's look at the job that the governor of New York has done, right? If you look at, so let me ask this question, then I'll make this point. But do you really think that when these governors had these protection in place for these immigrants, do you really think that those places were safer?
I don't believe the crime in California is primarily being perpetrated by folks that are here illegally. And they got a lot of illegal immigrants in California. I believe for the most part, people that are committing crimes in this country were likely born here. That's most of the criminals think about folks who get caught and get incarcerated, even in red states. How many red states are not known to be friendly to illegal immigrants? How many red states have prisons that are loaded with illegals? I mean, they're not the ones that's committing most of the crime. Otherwise, they would be incarcerated. You can't hardly name any red state where the primary inhabitants are illegal immigrants.
So I'm gonna tell you this much, Tim. Republican states have for the majority of them, not all of them, but a majority of them, they have low crime rates.
What?
They do.
Red states?
Yes.
You do realize that's flat out false. St. Louis was the murder capital for years. Baton Rouge, New Orleans, murder capitals. Memphis, Tennessee, murder capital.
Who's their governor? Democrats.
No, the governor, there is no governor of Memphis. The governors of Tennessee.
I'm talking about Louisiana, so that is part of the state, so their governor.
The governor of Louisiana is a Democrat? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Look
it up.
Okay. I'm not aware that the current governor. If it is, I'll concede the point. But what I'm saying is, Louisiana is a red state. Louisiana is not considered a blue state by any means.
But
who is the governor of Louisiana, by the way? You say that governor's a Democrat?
If it's still the same person, then yes, there's a Democrat in place in Louisiana.
Landry? No, the current governor of Louisiana is Jeff Landry. He is a Republican and assumed office on January 8, 2020.
Okay, so then it was the one before him.
Okay. Oh, the state didn't get less violent since he's been in office. He's been in office over a year. The violence in Louisiana still exists. So your point is kind of flat on that. But that's and that's just Louisiana. I'm going to tell you, there's plenty of violence in Tennessee, which is a red state. There's plenty of violence in Georgia. There's plenty of violence in Mississippi. All of those Bible Belt states down there that are red, they're violent as hell.
Not as much, my dude. And where I live out here in Utah, which is a red state. If you look at Montana, if you look at South Dakota, if you look at all these red states, right? You do realize you gotta have people to commit a crime, right? You're naming flat open land. I mean, I guess two rocks have never committed a drive-by against each other. You gotta have people. Okay, but Utah is actually, it's not the biggest state, but
Utah?
it has a population. Utah has a 5.4 crime rate. 5.4% crime rate.
I'll trade you Utah for Vermont, which is a Democratic state. Ain't nobody getting shot in Vermont. How about that?
Okay. Colorado.
Colorado's blue.
Right next to Utah, Democratic state.
Yeah, it's
actually pretty darn dangerous out there.
And I believe Colorado ain't known for being dangerous, really? Colorado, you came from Miami and you came from Miami. How long have you been gone from Miami? You used to live in Miami and you're talking about Colorado is dangerous? You done lost your roots.
It's not. So listen.
Colorado?
It's not as dangerous as Miami.
It ain't even in the same universe.
Right?
Go ahead.
So, no, all I can tell you is that there's a lot of people. I don't know the exact numbers.
How long you been in Utah? How long you been in Utah?
I've been out here for about 8-9 years.
Yeah, you've been gone from Miami too long because your crime meter is way off. Colorado, out of all, you don't even hear the right talking about Colorado. Colorado ain't known as a bad state. Out of all of the states in America where crime is being committed, other than when the Venezuelans took over an apartment complex and they wanted to use that for a talking point, you don't even hear them talking to Colorado? Really? That's what you're coming up with? Colorado?
Just look up the statistics. If you look on Google and you type in, right?
Oh my God.
Statistics, and if you go state by state, right? You're gonna find that there are more Democratic states than Republican states that are more dangerous.
Well, let me respond to that by saying this. There's going to be more crime in Democratic states than Republican states because that's where the people are. The majority of the population, when you look at the population of Illinois, New York, and just California alone, that's a large portion of America. All of them New England states over, all of them, I mean, when you look at the Republican states, all of the shit that's in the middle, like you were naming Kansas and Nebraska and the Dakotas and Montana, ain't no fucking body there. It ain't enough people that'll get busy. So of course it's less crime. It's a whole lot less money and opportunity there too, I'll tell you that. But there ain't nobody in those states. So of course you're gonna compare a town like Chicago with 8 million to Salt Lake City or some of these other areas. Of course there's gonna be more crime in Chicago.
No, one thing I will tell you though, Ted, right? And this is gonna be the last comment, and then I'm gonna let the next caller come up. But I actually feel a lot safer out here.
You should. You are a lot safer in Utah.
In Utah than I do in New York or California.
Of course. Look, you're in an area where there's less diversity. You're in an area where there's less, in terms of folks who have difference of opinions, whereas in Miami, you're going to have Hispanics, you probably got Muslims, you got folks of all. You go out in Salt Lake City, everybody thinks like they're all white and Christian. Well, you got fucking Mormons out there or something?
It's very mixed out here, my dude.
Compared to Miami?
Not compared. It's on the fence.
It ain't even, there is nowhere near the diversity in Salt Lake compared to Miami. It's not even close. And I'm not even in Salt Lake, and I can tell you that.
Okay, there's Tongans, there's Samoans, there's Cuban, there's Mexican, there's Ecuadorians, there's Venezuelans, there's Puerto Ricans.
And you're trying to compare that to a major port in Miami. You're trying to tell me Miami and Salt Lake City have somewhere near the same amount of diversity.
I wouldn't say the same amount, but it's pretty darn close.
I'm not even talking about, not only do they have a completely different set of diversity, the socioeconomics of where you are on the scale in terms of the difference between poverty and wealth is much greater in Miami too. You got rich people living next to poor people. It's much different. Everybody is a lot closer to the same environment in Salt Lake City compared to Miami. It's not even in the same universe. There's a lot more reason to argue and get into spats and conflict in Miami than there is in Salt Lake City. I don't know why you could even possibly compare the two.
My point is this, right? The reason why I feel like it is safer out here is because
it is.
One, we don't have that much of an immigration problem, not because of the population, but because of the attitude of this place, right? If you don't obey the law, you're more likely to get if you do not obey the law, there's a lot of people with more pew-pews out here than anywhere else in the country.
Well, I'm just going to tell you, I'll go ahead and move it on, but in Utah, you're probably safer than most of the Republican states in the Bible Belt, too. All of them states I just mentioned, Louisiana, Tennessee, Kentucky, Mississippi, Georgia, you're safer in Utah than any of them fucking places, too. So understand that. I got to move it on. Appreciate you coming through.
All right, my God. Have a good night.
Anytime. Somebody said per 100 or something like that. When I was comparing Chicago to Utah, and they're like, well, there's more people in Chicago, but 100, it's more safer in Utah. Still goes back to what I said. In Chicago, people are living all on top of each other. Your neighbor's right next. I mean, there's just so many more reasons to get into a spat or an argument in a city like Chicago compared to Salt Lake City. Traffic is going to be much greater. The parties and clubs are more packed. I mean, just every area of life where you might get into an argument is going to be significantly stronger in a town like Chicago compared to Salt Lake City. So there's a lot more reason for shit to happen. And that's just big city life, by the way, because Houston, Texas is in a red state, and it has its share of crime as well. It has plenty of crime in Houston, Texas. So does Atlanta, which happens to be in another red state. Anytime you put a bunch of people together from all different backgrounds, and they all think differently, whether it's their religion, whether it's their customs and culture, you're gonna have drama. You're going to have drama. Most of the crime in this country is in areas like that, where people all have differences of opinion and all of that shit. That's where most of the major crime centers are, is that type of stuff. Other than that, rampant poverty is another one. It's either it's going to be in an area that has a lot of different shit, a lot of different stuff going on, or where everybody's dirt poor. Because without no money ain't a damn thing funny, to quote who said that? That was a 90s rap or 80s rap. Pretty ass principal says, Tim, get this cigarette off the phone. He's definitely spared. It is what it is. Yeah. Tell to come visit Alabama, super red state. Yeah, like I said, you notice you hear the right always talking about crime in liberal cities. They don't talk about poverty at all, because the poverty is in their areas. You don't hear them talking about, people in terms of opportunity and poverty. We can say whatever the hell you want about California, but there's a lot less, even with the homeless crowd that's in California, there's still more wealth in California than most of those Bible Belt states, those red states. Certainly in Illinois and New York as well. There's more wealth in those areas. Now, Keith Wilkowitz, I think it says more excuses for black people. This conversation didn't have shit to do with black people. Nobody said anything about black people. I guess we're talking about crime, we're talking about liberal cities, and his mind went straight to African Americans. Oh, that ain't racist at all. All right, black people. Nobody, we talked for 15 to it, nobody said anything about black people. He said more excuses for black people. No, more excuses for folks who don't like black people, sound like. Many homeless choose to be homeless, says Mercer Hayes. I'd say yes and no. Probably closer to yes. I mean, to me, I still believe, despite the way things are going in this country, I do still find it hard to fall so flat on your face you're on the street. I'd rather go to a church, even though I'm not very religious, and beg for something. Do somebody have a corner in their garage they ain't using? Shit, I'll lay down some fucking insulation and sleep in your garage as opposed to being on the street. I'll go out and work at a day labor place for a few weeks just to buy the raggliest car on the lot and find somewhere I could park it and live in that to prevent from being on the street. To me, I tend to think there has to be something else wrong with you other than just poverty to end up on the street. That's just my opinion. Obviously, if you're living in a place like California where you can't afford, then you probably need to, the first thing I would do if I'm in California and I'm hurting is I would use whatever money I can get my hands on to buy a cheap-ass Greyhound ticket out of California, because you're never going to be able to afford a place to stay there. I mean, I would try to find a cheaper place to live. California, I'm trying to think, heading east, shit, it's not cheap in Nevada, Arizona, probably New Mexico. If you can get all the way over to Dallas or Houston, you can start finding some cheap shit there. Get yourself a bus ticket and head over there, and then you can probably get away with a little bit more shit. Like I said, start out with a piece of shit car and live in it, or a piece of shit cargo van or something. Live in that first. That's just my opinion. Ron says for some people it's a lifestyle choice. Yeah, living on the street is dangerous though. Everything you got, they get robbed all the time. The girls get sexual assaulted. That is a dangerous way to live. That's just, no, I can't be on the street. Who is 13% of the population that commits 50% of all violent crime. That sounds like a I love black people comment. 13% of the population commit 50% of all the crime. There's so much more to that than that. First of all, if you're impoverished, it doesn't matter what skin color you are, but if you're impoverished and you go before a judge after committing a crime, the chances are far more likely that you're going to end up in jail than somebody who's wealthy. You think any African American of average finances, average wealth, would still be free if they went through what Trump went through? 30 some odd charges, 90 some odd charges originally. You think anybody, if they didn't have Trump's money, would have survived that shit? So before talking about who's in prison for committing all of the crimes, start out by looking at the socioeconomic scale they're on, because wealth has a lot to do with whether you fall behind bars or not. Doesn't matter what skin color you are. If you're charged with a crime and you're poor, and they end up giving you what they refer to as a public pretender, not a public defender, a public pretender, you're probably gonna be told to plea out and take some time in jail. P. Diddy, O.J. Simpson, all them. You think they would have escaped if they didn't have no money? So the likelihood of more blacks being in jail has less to do with them committing the crimes and more to do with them not having a ability to wage a decent defense in a court of law. Because I'll tell you this, while we point out that there's more blacks in jail than anybody else, look at all of the folks that get exonerated. The ones that you hear about, they'll serve 10, 20, 30 years for a crime they didn't commit. They're almost always black. They're almost always black. The ones who get out of prison and I served 30 years, I didn't do this, and they finally, DNA evidence finally proved it. The ones that get railroaded by this, they're mostly all black. So if the ones that are getting out is mostly all black, you gotta assume that there's some who are serving their time that are that way as well. So when you say that most of them in jail because they're black, because they're the ones that are easiest to railroad. They don't have any money. They don't have any ability to fight back. Good example, this guy that's in the news right now, this McNeil got it. The guy who got pulled over, didn't comply with the police. Police knocked out his window, punched him in the face, took him out the car and punched him in the face another time. You think if the cops did that to a non-compliant son of a senator, they would have got away with that? You think it would have still been deemed as legit? You can get away with a lot of shit when you're dealing with poor people. And blacks represent, due to historical context, most of the poor people. They have a much higher per capita percentage of them being poor. The nation was created, it held them back from acquiring wealth. So you can get away with more shit on black people. So yeah, you're gonna have more of them in prison. But I'm not excusing the ones that commit crimes. What I'm saying is if they do commit a crime, it's a lot easier to lock them up than other folks. There's a lot of folks who done some pretty bad shit and they're walking free, and a lot of folks who committed little mild crimes and they're spending plenty of time behind bars simply because they couldn't hire a lawyer. All the black on black crime is white hate. Don't know what that means. Hunter ain't black. I don't know what Hunter Biden got to do with this. Victim card holders, explain to me, if the U.S. is so racist, why was Obama elected? Why are so many black mayors, senators, and Congress? Please, I'll wait. What are you saying that if you give, I mean, when you look at the places that these folks are getting elected, probably with the exception of Obama, most of the places that all these black people you're pointing out that get these jobs, the places are mostly black that voted them in. You don't see many rural all-white towns voting in black politicians, with the exception of maybe Obama, who actually won due to a whole lot of white votes. Most of the places that these black politicians you're pointing out win office, the places are overwhelmingly black. That's why they're getting the job. That's why they're not getting the job because a bunch of white people are voting for. Most of these people are getting the job because the town they're in, the constituency they're over is mostly black people anyway. So I mean, if America's not racist, okay. Let me see Savannah, Georgia or something like that. You know, let me start seeing shit like that. Then you and I would have more of an agreement. When I see a town that's 80, 90% white electing a black mayor, then you would be right. You'd have more of a point to make. But if a town is 60, 70% black, and they elect a black guy for the leader, well, that shows America's not racist. No, it doesn't. It shows the people that are black wanted the black leader. In fact, that might be closer to suggesting that racism continues because the towns tend to elect people that look like them. That ain't saying that racism ended. That's saying that it looks like it's kind of still continuing. If the town is mostly black, the leaders are black. If the town is mostly white, the leaders are white. That doesn't say that racism ended. That makes it look like it's continuing. Let's talk about why Biden and Harris never released the Epstein files. I think that's the dumbest point to make this late in the game. And I'll tell you for two reasons. First reason being the Trump administration ran on Biden is hiding elites. He's working with the deep state and he's letting them get away with the likelihood of abusing children. Vote me in and I'll make sure we know who these bad people are. I'll give you transparency. So we vote Trump in and then he don't release shit and say, let's go back to talking about Biden again. That makes no sense at all. We knew Biden wasn't releasing the list if you listen to Bongino and Megyn Kelly and all of them during his administration. We knew that. So that's why Trump got in there. So Trump gets in there and fails to produce it. He fails to produce and not a conversation of let's go back to Biden? Why? That doesn't make any sense. The other thing I want to bring up is the fact that Jeffrey Epstein passed away on August 10th, 2019. Trump was president until January of 2021. So that means Jeffrey Epstein died a year and a half almost before Trump left office on his first term. Damn, why didn't Biden release the list? Why didn't Trump release the list at the end of his first term? He had a year and a half to, at the very least, tell us whether a list exists or not. For him to be telling us in the summer of 2025, no list exists is insane. You were president of the United States when your former buddy was incarcerated and died while in custody, and you remained in the White House for a year and a half almost after that happened. And you're going to tell me you don't even know if a list exists after that? So when folks bring up Biden, understand there's a huge period of time before Biden got in office that Trump should have known some shit. Because we clearly knew what Epstein was involved in. He had already been incarcerated, had already lost his life a year and a half before Trump left his first term. He should be able to tell you quite a bit from that period before Biden even got in office. Why didn't he release the list? Or should we not talk about that? I see somebody says that motherfucker's guilty, says freedom fighter. How in the world do you think you're going to get these people in trouble when the victims themselves can't even speak to it? I say put Ghislaine Maxwell before Congress. Put her before Congress. In my opinion, look, this may not be popular. Maybe some of you folks agree. I don't know. But Ghislaine Maxwell got a 20-year sentence. I believe she's older than me. I'm in my early 50s. She's going to be in jail for probably until damn near to the rest of her life. I would say make a deal with Ghislaine Maxwell, but, emphasis on but, none of this bullshit where she only talks to Trump lawyer behind closed doors and then we got to believe what his fucking lawyer says. Put her before Congress under oath, under threat of perjury, cut 10 years off of her sentence. I get what she's serving time for in the heinous nature of her crimes. But she's likely about to turn coat on a lot of bad people, so you're going to get a lot more people that deserve to be punished that are walking free right now that may be offending other underage people as we speak, because none of them have been held to account. Cut 10 years off of that 20-year sentence Ghislaine Maxwell has and have her testify under oath before Congress. You can put that shit on C-SPAN because you don't have to show any pictures that feature any porn or any of that stuff you don't. It's questions. That's all it is. You're going to see Congress grilling her with questions. Democrats and Republicans. Both of them. She gets 10 years off her sentence. If she's caught lying, She gets the full sentence plus an additional 5 years for perjury. That means she's in jail till she fucking dies. She has every right at that point to tell the truth. And now you got liberals also being able to ask her questions without the Trump administration being able to hide how the interview took place. I think most of America would probably be more willing to agree with that than what Trump is skirting around and doing now. That's what I would suggest. Let her come before, and knowing that she is held accountable for perjury, don't leave any names out. I mean, we're going to ask you questions. If we find out you lied or deliberately omitted information about any of this shit, you get your full sentence of 20 years plus an additional 5 years for perjury. Or you can walk in 10 or whatever deal you want to give her that features some light at the end of the tunnel, which she does not have at this point. And you'll go into witness protection or whatever to save your life after this is over with. I think she'd play ball, and I think a large portion of America would agree with that, with the exception of Trump. I don't think he would agree with that at all. Anyway, looking in the comments, though, it's the something that's, I don't know what that says. Why didn't the Biden, you guys keep saying this, Biden. Why didn't the Biden administration want to hear what Giselle? Biden is gone. You've already referred to Biden as the dumbest, most ineffective president in history. So why keep asking questions about him? Biden has no power at this point. Continuing to bring up Biden when Trump is in, okay, if Biden fucked up, this is Trump's chance to make it right. He's not doing that. So because he ain't making it right, let's keep talking about Biden again, huh? Biden is irrelevant at this point on this matter. You've already said the guy got dementia. He can't string together a sentence. He don't know where he's at. He used auto pen. Why don't you use some of your own damn excuses for why he didn't produce anything? You're going to tell me the guy don't know where he's at and he's going to be dead soon, but then you expect, well, why didn't he do all this great stuff I wanted him to do? Why not just fill in the blank with some of the shit you use? Trump is in office now. Why ain't he doing it? I don't know why people keep bringing up Biden. 5 people are already deceased under Epstein. Yeah, that's why I said you're going to give Giselle Maxwell witness protection. We're going to give her witness protection. In regards to the lie detector tests, those are known to be able to. Those are not totally effective. They're not even. I don't think they even can be used in a court of law. Lie detector tests are not perfect. There are ways to calm down and fool those things. So lie detector tests are not going to come into it. Giving her 10 years with her knowing that if she's caught lying, she's going to die in jail, to me is an incentive for her to come clean. If she's going to be in witness protection, she don't have a reason to lie at that point. My guess is she probably has a little angst among her anyway, because why the hell am I doing all this time when all these other motherfuckers got free? So I think she'd probably be willing to spill the beans on a lot of people anyway. I mean, because ain't nobody looking out for her in jail. Ain't nobody going to talk to her. Ain't nobody putting money on her books that she used to deal with. They don't want to be known around her. So my guess is she would probably be happy to spill the beans. Out of all of us that did this, why the hell am I doing 20? Why you still out dealing with hedge funds and making millions? Why am I doing 20? All of you guys distance yourself from me and Epstein when we went down, knowing damn well you were involved in this. So my guess is she would probably be fairly cooperative just on that alone. They're not admissible in court. That's why the lie detector test is not going to work in court. How many super rich people do you think have called Trump and demanded Trump put an end to this Epstein case? Probably not many. Unless you want to say Tucker Carlson and them types, and probably not many, because it's not popular to try to tell Trump to do anything. I mean, Trump can destroy most of them people. Probably not many. Melania's name came up in the Epstein scandal as well. I heard this. Now, I think it might have been on CNN or one of the networks that you guys don't trust. But I did hear that, and I'm going to put emphasis on heard this. I don't know if it's true. But I heard that Melania Trump was in the car with with Maxwell on some of those accounts when they were picking up girls. I don't know if it's valid or not, but I have heard that Melania Trump was with Giselle Maxwell when she was grabbing some of these chicks, possibly in the grooming process, taking them to clients, bringing them to people's houses and stuff like that. I don't have any clue at all if it's true or not. Which is why I prefaced it by saying I heard it. But there's a lot of footage of Melania Trump with Ghislaine Maxwell. They hung out together. There's plenty of footage of them together. They hung. The idea that Trump and Melania hung around these folks and had no clue what they were doing whatsoever, I'm just going to say that's a viewpoint that would not be afforded by MAGA to anybody else. If Obama or Biden or some liberal was doing the same thing as Trump was doing and saying that they were innocent of what this man was doing, MAGA wouldn't buy that. MAGA would not buy that at all. If Bill Clinton had all these videos of him hanging around and partying with Epstein, there are literal photos of Trump in the photos with Epstein, and young girls are present at the events they're at. MAGA would not buy that stuff. If it was a liberal doing all this stuff, MAGA wouldn't buy it. So I don't know if Trump is innocent or not, but his actions don't look like an innocent guy. Trump himself is quoted as saying, if you plead the fifth, you know, it means you got something to hide. It means you work for the mob and all of this shit. And Epstein was asked, have Trump ever slept with an underage girl? And Epstein plead the fifth. Why would you do that? Why would you, out of everything involved, why would you plead the fifth on something like that? Why would Epstein plead the fifth on asking him if Trump slept with underage girls? I don't know. But like I just stated, MAGA would not afford the amount of benefit of the doubt they're giving Trump if it was anybody else in Trump's shoes under those same circumstances. Pictures, hanging out at parties and events, had all of the quotes that Trump has, you know, about telling a 10-year-old, I'll be dating you when you get older or something like, in 10 years, I'll be dating you, or the stuff he said about his daughter. MAGA would not afford anybody else the amount of benefit of the doubt they're giving Trump. I mean, he said a lot of stuff that is like, why would you say that? You know, you're looking at a 1-year-old talking about, you don't know if she's going to have the titties of your, I don't know. Looking in the comments here, I can't see any pedo going on a plane to Pedo Island and letting others know about it. Well, Mercer Hayes, I'll just say this. In regards to this whole notion of the flight list and the island, when you look at the wealth Jeffrey Epstein possessed, when you look at the amount of properties this guy had, obviously he didn't just have properties on the island. When you look at, he had properties on the mainland, properties in Manhattan, probably properties on the West Coast. When you look at his financial capabilities, do you really believe that that guy only got horny on the island? Do you think that every time that man wanted to fuck, he had to go to the airport or go to a port and sail to that island? You think that's the only place he had sex? When he got access to Ghislaine Maxwell, basically a pimp that'll serve him anytime. Now, she stated, this is her words, Epstein needed 3 orgasms a day. That's what Maxwell stated. And she facilitated that. So he fucking a lot. You really believe that if he's laying in a Manhattan penthouse somewhere and he's horny, he got to get up and get dressed and go to the airport and fly to the island before he can fuck? You really believe that only people on the flight list are involved with this stuff? You don't think he did anything wrong out of the lower 48 states? Nothing? You believe that? Got that insanely wealthy? Call girls and he found, hell, even R. Kelly didn't lead the country to do what he needed to do. But Epstein did? Yeah, I don't buy that. That guy was fucking people on this, on our soil, he was fucking people. And on the island. But there are plenty of people that were not on that flight log that enjoyed Epstein's services in the women he could provide. Here, they did that in the United States. I'm certain of that. So no way that guy got all that money and he's got to lead a country to do something. That's insane. How many what is a MAGA-philia? I don't know what that means. I don't think that everyone on the list is a pet. I don't know, but I do know. I don't know who's on the list. I don't know if everybody's on the list, et cetera. No, probably not. I mean, obviously he has an island. He's flying gardeners. He's flying, architects and shit to build properties on his island. I mean, yeah, he's flying people to the island that's not involved in this stuff. So everybody's on his flight list probably was not involved in it. But I'm sure that people were involved in pedophilia with Epstein that were here in the United States. They didn't all go to that island and do that. That's not the only place he did that stuff. I'm certain of it. I'm certain that man was doing stuff here. You can't go to Hollywood and dial up somebody. You got Giselle Maxim. You can't have her fly you a girl out to Hollywood or find you one in Hollywood. You got to go all the way to this island to do that? No. That don't make sense to me. Trump doesn't want to be JFK'd. Ooh, I don't think that's going to happen. Epstein pled the fifth because they were guilty of messing with underage girls. Two sick bastards. Like I said, I don't think MAGA would see it any other way if it was somebody that wasn't Trump. I don't want my kids growing up in a racial jungle, Joe Biden. I don't know how you guys keep. I've said it before that the racial conversation would make a lot more sense if it was, Bush, Mitt Romney, or George H.W. Bush. But if the opposition is Trump, the racial conversation is somewhere you shouldn't even go. I mean, you gonna bring up racial jungle or the crime bill or vote for me or you ain't black. This guy is demanding teams rename themselves to the Indians and Redskins and renaming bases back at the Confederates and shit. Kicking out black folks and letting in white South Africans. I mean, there's so much stuff there that it's stick to the economy or something like that. I mean, there's too many counterpoints. I mean, if you're going to say that Biden's a racist, but you don't see nothing racist about Trump, pick a different topic. That's a bad topic to go down. I mean, there's plenty of stuff in regards to Trump that's at least suspicious. I've played the video all the time on this program of how he tweeted out that black people are responsible for 88% of white homicides, indicating that if you're a white victim of homicide, it's an 88% chance a black person did it. When in reality, it's 15%. No apology, no. It just, that ain't the area to defend Trump on. It just is not. Like I said, if you're gonna bring up racism, compare Biden to somebody else, you might have a better argument. But comparing him to Trump you got to excuse a whole lot from Trump to make Biden look worse than Trump on the racial argument. His whole administration is white. I mean, somebody was just saying, well, how can America be racist if we elected a black president? You realize how many black people Biden appointed? Judges and members of his cabinet and shit like that? What, the argument don't hold any weight when we're talking about Biden all of a sudden? You're going to use the election of Obama to suggest, well, if we elected a black president, that means America can't be racist. But you're going to look at Biden, who appointed black people all over the fucking place, and say he is racist. Then it kind of throws out your Obama argument. That guy appointed black people every fucking where. Supreme Court tried to make the first black female president in Kamala Harris. I mean, they're everywhere under Biden. So maybe he was racist when he talked about the racial jungle and all that shit. But he clearly changed his tune once he became president. He even tried to pass the George Floyd bill that the Republican Party shot down. Juneteenth that the Republican Party doesn't like. That guy? Are we supposed to say Trump is less racist than that dude? That don't make sense to me. I mean, like I said, unless you just want to ignore everything Trump is doing. Trump on Juneteenth, the one that just passed a few weeks ago, on Juneteenth, Trump took to social media, did not acknowledge Juneteenth at all. He stated there are too many holidays in this country and people want to go back to work and something's going to change. He, on the day of Juneteenth, he took to social media, didn't acknowledge the holiday and indicated he wanted to get rid of it. That guy, compared to Biden? Nah. That's a tall order to make, and I'm able to see both sides of an issue, but you got to ignore a whole lot from Trump to make Biden look more racist than Trump. The apartments, the Central Park 5, all of that stuff, I ain't even bringing that stuff up from his past. You know, removing black dealers at the casinos and shit, like all of that old stuff. Now, I get the crime bill is 30-something years as well. I'm letting you bring up old stuff. The stuff on Trump is recent. Stuff is recent. And we can talk about allocating money to HBCUs and some of the shit that folks would suggest that makes Trump not racist. His second term, this current administration, there's nothing there. Nothing to point to where he's done this or that for African Americans. There's nothing there at all. You're comparing him to Biden? In fact, when we're talking about the things about Trump that indicate he is not racist, most of that shit's pretty fucking old. You know, he gave money to Jesse Jackson. When the fuck did that happen? You know, he used to hang around Mike Tyson. I mean, that stuff is old. I mean, that stuff, you got to go back 20, 30 years to find stuff. I don't see it. Like I said, you got to really, really stretch to make Biden the racist and Trump the one that loves black people. Just look at their administrations and try to explain that. Is there anybody on Trump's administration? I guess Tulsi, maybe? What is Tulsi Gabbard? Maybe her? No. But I see Robert says a silly, brainwashed host. Democrats, they still don't know why they got MAGA, so they blaming racism again. Nah, there's a lot of reasons the Democrats lost. Racism, I'm sure, didn't help, but Kamala Harris wasn't a good candidate. Biden refused to step down, giving Kamala only 100 days to run. There's a bunch of shit there. It ain't all just racism. Anyway, folks, I do need to calm my... You guys are always fun to talk to. Look, at the end of the day, we don't have to agree on shit. We run an uncensored program. I believe in letting MAGA speak just as much as I believe in letting liberals speak. That's how uncensored programming works. If you enjoy uncensored programming, despite hearing opinions you agree with and don't agree with, follow the program if you're watching on Instagram or TikTok. We are MAGA friendly. We will always be MAGA friendly. Being MAGA friendly means I allow you to speak without being blocked, banned, or censored or try to dictate how you should think. Doesn't mean I don't criticize you, because I criticize liberals as well. And I take criticism from all of you folks. People are constantly commenting on every damn thing from my fucking shirt to my goddamn eyes. And we don't block, ban, or censor anybody. So if you like uncensored programming, you are in the right place. Give your boy a sub, and I'll see you folks tomorrow. Y'all take care and have a wonderful night. Catch you then.